Hi, I'm Georgie Gulia. I am a director with Cherry Beckert, and we are the proud sponsor of the ACG Fast 40 event. We support this event for many reasons, but most importantly to get to know these great companies in the middle market and hear their stories.
In simple terms, I describe ourselves to people who aren't familiar with our industry as being a trucking company with no trucks, and that we arrange transportation service for our clients, and the actual trucking portion of it, we contract out with outside carriers to actually move the freight for us. Well, my business partner, Jeff Lance, and I, we started the company back in late 1996. We're actually incorporated January 1 of 1997. Jeff and I previously worked together at another logistics company, and but both of us had made our careers in the transportation and logistics space. So Jeff and I worked together for a period of time, and then we had an opportunity to go into business for ourselves, and that's when we initially formed the company. Initially, we were formed as CL Services Incorporated. Most recently, we rebranded to Prosponsive Logistics. But we started off initially as a commission sales and brokerage agent in the brokerage space, transportation brokerage space, and that's how we got started. We had been in the business long enough to have some contacts in the business and some customers that we felt would feel sorry enough for us to give us some business, and fortunately they did. And the rest is kind of history. We started off in a very small office that was given to us rent-free for a period of time, which was tremendously helpful because when I say we started at the bottom, we actually started at the bottom, and just built it up from there. We actually have a group that is responsible for recruiting efforts. Kendall and Russ, they handle those responsibilities very well. Over the years, we have made a very concerted effort to recruit in various colleges and universities around the state and even outside the state. We've done a lot of work with the folks at Auburn. We've done a lot of work with the folks at Georgia Southern now. University of Georgia, just this week, we have our first employee that's coming to us from Mississippi State. So if you took a poll of all the people, we've got a whole range of different schools that we use in our recruiting efforts, and so we also do a lot of background testing to make sure that I guess you call it psychological testing, but anyway, just some testing to make sure that the people that we bring into the organization have the right DNA and the right wiring to do the type of work that we need for them to do. And we've gotten much better at that over the years. And we didn't always have a full-time recruiting effort. Back in some of the earlier days, Jeff and I both went to a lot of career fairs and did it ourselves. And but that's been the main avenue of attracting and retaining good talent. And we've made plenty of hiring mistakes too over the years. I won't take anything away from that because I think that's all part of the process. You're going to do some of that, but real proud of what we're doing now, and look to continue down that road with it. Well, I guess the main reason was Jeff and I both lived here in Georgia. I'm a native Georgian, and Jeff is originally from Iowa, and also spent some of his early days growing up down in Florida. But we were in Georgia, and that's where we both really cut our teeth in the transportation and logistics industry. So it was a natural place for us to start. And as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, when we first started in business, we had some office space was given to us rent-free, and they didn't charge us anything for that, which was a great leg up and getting things off the ground. So, and we've continued to focus on building our business in Georgia. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 offices in Georgia. That's Athens, Savannah, have 2 locations here in Atlanta. And That's we've expanded outside of that region with we had an office in Denver, also one in Kansas City, Missouri, one in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm not leaving one out there. So those are relatively new startup, new branch offices for us, but they've all come along really well. Our Athens, Georgia office kind of grew out of the COVID, the whole COVID thing, where we had a group of folks that worked with us that just happened to live outside Atlanta in that eastern Georgia market. So we had always toyed around with opening an office in Athens just for the benefit of being close to the university and being able to recruit out of the university. So when COVID came about, we decided that, folks would really like to work a whole lot closer to home. And so we cut the commutes for that little group of people. We started with 5 people over there, and that came out of our South Atlanta office. So it cut their commute drastically, and within just a very short period of time, we outgrew the little office space that we got in Athens, and it's really been tremendous over there. Our North Atlanta office, we did that primarily for recruiting purposes, and as everybody knows, traffic around Atlanta is a nightmare, and so when we're recruiting students and people to join our organization, being on the south side of Atlanta, we're somewhat geographically undesirable for people that are on the north side of Atlanta or live up that way. So that was really one of the driving forces behind opening up the office up in North Atlanta, which is now, I guess it's been about up on three, and that's gone very well for us too. So it's an interesting route that we've taken, I guess you'd say.
We started the company, Russ and I basically started with nothing. Self-funded, self-financed. And we've ran the company that way ever since. So we're debt-free, and we've operated in that fashion, and that is how we've ran our company this whole 25 years that we've been in business. So we have not come to really rely on anyone. We've had some hurdles, and we've had some great banking relationships over the years that have helped us out, but we like to keep everything paid down and paid off. And that's just kind of the way we operate, and we both have that same mentality of moving forward. And as far as the other piece of that, acquisitions. We have not made any acquisitions to date. But we are looking, and if the right opportunity comes along, we would certainly take a look at it. Prosponsive Logistics, actually, that name we came up with probably about 10 years ago, somewhere in that time period. We trademarked the name. We were sitting around a conference table and thought, what do we want to be when we grow up? And what's missing in this industry? Prosponsive, really kind of wanting to be proactive, and also being responsive with our customers. Communication in our industry is a major pitfall, particularly with our clients and with our vendors that we use. And we were thinking, how can we make this better than what everybody else is doing out there? So we live that, and we live that culture. We live a responsive culture. Our culture is unique in the sense that we're very proactive and very responsive with our clients. And that is part of the training process when people come on board in our company. But at the same time, that kind of transpires over to our employees and the communication inside of Prosponsive Logistics, as well as the communication outside of Prosponsive Logistics. Probably the uniqueness about our culture is our team atmosphere, our environment that we have. Everybody, if you go from one office to another office, you'll find that those offices are very similar in nature and how they work, how they function, and the camaraderie amongst all of our employees. The camaraderie is probably the most unique part of our culture. Everybody really gels together. Our growth over the past 2 years has really excelled. There's a number of factors that have contributed to that, but probably one of the number one factors was Russ and I were able to convince a gentleman to become a part of our company, which was a very big move for us and a very big hire for us, bringing on Jay Matthews, what was CFO at that time, but now he's been promoted to president. He was a big hit for our company. But also during COVID, that growth also stemmed from really the market just turned into kind of fire. It caught on fire, and timing is everything. Being in the right place, right time. But with that timing there, we also had been laying out the infrastructure to be able to handle all that. So when we brought Jay on board, he brought on some other people that Tyler Butler, and he was involved with the management side. Now he's the vice president of business operations, and both of them have been very instrumental in helping us really kind of lay this groundwork and formulate all these offices and all of this growth that we've had. It's been very exciting times for us. And COVID, while it was a disaster, but at the same time, we were able to capitalize on the market.